At 6, disaster in Los Angeles. 4 wildfires are burning out of control. Firefighters say they cannot be contained. At least 70,000 people have been ordered to flee their homes. 2 people have died. There have been significant injuries. More than 1,000 buildings have been destroyed in the biggest fire in Pacific Palisades near Malibu.
You gonna be okay? Hi? You gonna be okay?
People have had to grab what they can, with flames being fanned by hurricane-force winds up to 100 miles an hour, the most destructive windstorm there in decades. Abandoned cars litter the roads. After traffic built up, residents fleeing the fires were told to get out and run for their lives.
We're live inside the Pacific Palisades evacuation zone, where the hillsides are still smouldering and smoke is blocking out the sun.
4 wildfires are burning out of control in the suburbs around Los Angeles. At least 2 people are known to have died. There have been significant injuries as well. 1,000 buildings have been destroyed in one area alone, the wealthy Pacific Palisades neighborhood, where the largest fire is out of control. At least 70,000 people have been ordered to leave their homes. Tens of thousands more have been told to pack and be ready to go. The city's police chief says the fire conditions are unprecedented, unpredictable, and there's no possibility of bringing them under control. The first fire around the Palisades between Santa Monica and Malibu started last night, driven by fierce winds. A state of emergency was declared after the relatively small blaze took hold, but it spread with incredible speed, fanned by those hurricane-force winds and tinder-dry conditions. Within a matter of hours, the fire region had doubled in size. Our North America correspondent, Emma Vardy, is there for us now. Emma.
Well, LA is unrecognisable right now, with fires burning in multiple directions. People who've lived here for decades say they've never seen anything like this, and those winds, which were howling all night long, driving the flames, are still blowing very strongly today. And it seems that emergency services are not even close to getting control of this situation just yet. As dawn broke, LA awoke to an apocalyptic sight. Smoke blocking out the skies over Santa Monica Beach after a terrifying 24 hours. The fire grew at an extraordinary speed, flames raging out of control as a windstorm battered the coast.
They aren't even just houses, they're homes. This is our home. These are places where we built community, where we raised families, where we made memories that we will never forget, even if we can't go back to these structures.
This was the moment 2 residents found their house surrounded.
Just be okay. You gonna be okay? Hi? You gonna be okay?
LA's governor watched as the fire spread across thousands of acres in hours. Tens of thousands of people were told to evacuate, some abandoning their cars to the mercy of the flames. Others tried to save their homes. Fire crews struggled against a terrifying inferno, causing utter destruction. As flights continued to land into LA's main airport, passengers witnessed the chaos below.
Oh my God.
Emergency services are stretched to their limit. At least 1,000 buildings have been destroyed as they battle on multiple fronts.
My sister called and she's like, "Are you okay?" And at that moment, a helicopter flew over my house and just dropped water. And I was like, "Oh, it's raining." She's like, "Oh no, it's not raining. Your neighborhood is on fire. You need to get out." And as soon as I opened my door, it was like right there.
I was getting more and more frantic as, you know, the lights were getting darker and the sky was getting more red. It was scary.
One reporter described the carnage.
We're here in the heart of the Pacific Palisades, in a neighborhood that is a total loss. You've got a home here. I'm going to flip over here. Another home lost. When we go over this way, homes down this street gone.
As the second fire broke out, elderly residents of a care home were taken to safety.
A lot of these people are terrified, and they don't have a blanket, they don't have a wrap, they have nothing.
In some of LA's most exclusive neighbourhoods, Hollywood stars left their homes to the flames. None of the fires have yet been brought under control.
Along this coastal road, we've been seeing the fire's destruction. There's power lines down, patches still smouldering, and the air is so thick with smoke that we can barely see more than a few metres in front of us.
Many people are still unsure where to go in this fast-changing situation. A dark day for Los Angeles, a Californian paradise becoming a nightmare.
Well, let's talk to Emma now. She is just outside the evacuation zone at Pacific Palisades. That's the largest fire. And Emma, really striking to hear the firefighters saying that they cannot bring these fires under control. So many people have already lost their homes.
They have, and even though thousands of people have been evacuated, we're hearing that there have been a high number of injuries from people who did not choose to leave their homes, who stayed to try to protect them for whatever reason, or just left it too late. Now, these fires have been extremely unpredictable, very fast moving. One place that can feel safe one moment can be engulfed by flames the next. And just where we are, we're just inside the evacuation zone. The smoke is so thick, you can smell it, you can taste it. Even wearing protective equipment, our eyes are stinging being here, and it's quite disorientating too, so you can only imagine what the experiences are like for residents who have had to flee and for the firefighters who are trying to battle this. Now, the strong winds which are continuing, there are flames still burning and bits smouldering on the hillsides behind us, and every time there's a gust of wind here, we're seeing flames right next to us burst into life once again. So that is why emergency services are reiterating their warnings. They are telling people, take the evacuation orders seriously. They are saying to people, this is not a drill, you must leave if you are told to. But I think this is sinking in for a lot of people now, that this is a day like Los Angeles has not seen before, and we're quite some way off it being over yet.
Emma Vardy with the latest there from Los Angeles. Thank you. Well, as you can see, Los Angeles is being hit by the most destructive windstorm in decades, with winds there of between 80 and 100 miles an hour. This area has been hit by devastating wildfires before, but how much of a role has climate change played in this extreme weather that we're seeing now? Here's our climate editor, Justin Rolat.
Still images show the fury and the horror of the fires engulfing parts of California. Wildfires are a year-round threat in the state, but this year it experienced its hottest summer on record. We know climate change is making the kind of hot, dry weather California has experienced in recent months more likely. And scientists say that is increasing the number of what are known as fire weather days. Now, this graph shows the increase in the area burnt by fires in the US since 1983. As you can see, it appears to have been growing steadily over the years. And there's another factor this year. The winter rains that normally reduce the fire risk in California didn't come. In fact, downtown Los Angeles has only received 0.16 inches of rain since October. That is more than 4 inches below average. The California Governor, Gavin Newsom, believes the pattern of wildfires is changing.
We were here not too long ago, the Franklin fire. A few weeks prior to that, the Mountain fire. November, December, now January. There's no fire season, it's fire year, it's year round.
And look how the wind has been blowing the fires. These Santa Ana, or devil winds as they're sometimes called, are a normal part of California weather, caused by cool, dry air blowing from the interior of the state to the coast. Climate change doesn't appear to have altered the pattern of the Santa Ana winds, but as our world warms, the dangerous combination of strong winds with very dry vegetation is becoming more likely. And just look at the scenes on the other side of the country. The East Coast and parts of central US are experiencing icy, cold weather and snowstorms that have killed 5 people and left 60 million under extreme weather warnings. The contrast could hardly be more stark. Justin Rolat, BBC News.
With a theme because homeless shelters on the east coast of America have been opening their doors to rough sleepers after a huge winter storm hit the region.
Yes, Storm Blair has brought heavy snowfall, freezing temperatures there as well, gripping cities that have seen a surge in homelessness over the last year or so, as our correspondent Tom Bateman explains.
Along the roadside are America's left behind. Tens of thousands of homeless people are facing a brutal winter on the US East Coast.
My tent here that got crashed by the snow yesterday, but that's fine. I'm just going to clear the snow later on.
John Sebastian scrapes by, spending the freezing nights at the shelter.
Can you show us your place?
Sure.
And comes back to guard his spot here during the day.
Yeah, you always put some food. I try to place as many blankets as I can so it stays warm. That's the secret for warm.
Do you need a hat? Yes. Here you are. Thank you.
Saria, an aid worker, comes to help.
Come on. What? Come and talk to me.
Homelessness in the US is at record levels, fueled by soaring city rents and post-pandemic inflation. That's when G lost his job as a mason's apprentice. He's been sleeping rough for 2 years.
Is that a heater? Is that a heater there?
Yeah.
Right.
Now he tries to stay warm however he can.
Right.
It was just hard. And, I mean, despite everything else I was dealing with, you know, just trying to bounce back and gather my thoughts, you know. But it all works out eventually. What's up, Craig? Man, another day in paradise.
Even the expressway embankments here are a refuge for the homeless, now in the bitter cold.
Well, we've got about a foot of snow here. It dropped to -8 overnight. The people here say they've just been trying to keep warm, but they've also been told they've only got around a week left here before the authorities come and clear their tents away, and they'll have to move on again.
As they're shifted around, the soup kitchens mean warmth and continuity and some sanctuary. Angie fled her home state, a survivor of domestic violence, and came to Washington, now facing her first winter on the streets.
It's terrible. It is just bone chilling, and you're out there at night and then early mornings. Shelters tell you to get out 6 a.m. and be waiting for buses till 7:30 to get here to get a hot meal. It's like a race to get a hot meal, basically, when you're in the shelter. And this makes all the difference. There's nothing like a hot cup of coffee and a hot meal when you have no money and nowhere to go.
And now Angie's moving on again, wondering where that next hot cup of coffee will come from, with fighting the cold still a daily struggle for many in the world's wealthiest country. Tom Bateman, BBC News, Washington.